Good morning. Today we will discuss regarding tool engineering, in which we will study the nomenclature of single point cutting tool. So first of all, we will see what is single point cutting tool. So as the name implies, a tool that has a single point for cutting purpose is called single point cutting tool. It is generally used in the lathe machine, shaper machine, etc. It is used to remove the materials from the workpiece. So this is a single point cutting tool, and various elements of the single point cutting tool that are shown. So you can see right from the top there is a shank, then there is a base, then side cutting edge, then the major flank, then heel, nose, minor flank, end cutting edge, and face. These are the various elements of the single point cutting tool. So we will see one by one. So first is the shank. So it is the main body of the tool. So it is that part of the single point cutting tool which goes into the tool holder, or in simple language, shank is used to hold the tool. So this end part of the tool, that is called a shank, that is used to hold a cutting tool in a tool holder. Then next element is flank. So you can see there is a flank, into bracket there is a written major flank, and on a left hand side you can see there is a minor flank. So there are two flanks, major flank and minor flank. So it is a surface below and adjacent to the cutting edges. So you can see in a diagram there is a side cutting edge on a right hand side, and on a left hand side there is a end cutting edge. The surface below and adjacent to the cutting edges, it is called a flank. So there are two flank surfaces. First one is a major flank and second one is a minor flank. The major flank lies below and adjacent to the side cutting edge, and the minor flank surface lies below and adjacent to the end cutting edge. Then base. The portion of the shank that lies opposite to the top face of the shank is called the base. So you can see the base, that is, it is a bottom surface, that is called the base. So the portion of the shank that lies opposite to the top face of the shank is called base. Then next element is face. It is the top portion of the tool along which chip slides. So you can see the top portion of the tool, that is called the face, onto which the chip slides. It is designed in such a way that the chips slides on it in upward direction. So that element, it is called the face of the tool. Then cutting edge. So we have already seen the two cutting edges, major cutting edge and minor cutting edge. The edge on the tool which removes materials from the workpiece is called cutting edges. It lies on the face of the tool. The single point cutting tool has two edges, and these are: first is side cutting edge. The top edge of the major flank is called side cutting edge, and second is end cutting edge, that is top edge of the minor flank is called end cutting edge. So you can see the side cutting edge and end cutting edge. It is the top part of the major flank, that is called the side cutting edge, and the top part of the minor flank, it is called the end cutting edge. Then nose or cutting point. So it is the intersection point of major cutting edge and minor cutting edge is called a nose, or it is a point where the side cutting edge and end cutting edge intersects. So there is an intersection point of end cutting edge and side cutting edge. There is a name it is given, that is a nose. Then nose radius. So it is the radius of the nose. So a small radius it is provided to the nose. So nose radius increases the life of the tool. and provides better surface finish. Next element, it is a hill. So it is a curved portion and intersection of base and flank of the tool. So that is called the hill. Now this is a nomenclature of single point cutting tool, in which the different elements and the different angles that are provided to the single point cutting tool that are shown. So these are the three views. So first, you can see at the right hand side bottom view, it is a front view. On a top there is a top view, and on a left hand side there is a side view. On a front view, you can see the at the top there is a back rake angle, then end relief angle. In a front view that you can see, in a top view you can see the side cutting edge angle and end cutting edge angle, then the different elements, that is shank, face, nose, that you can see cutting edges. And in a side view you can see the side rake angle and side relief angle. So these are the different angles that are provided to the single point cutting tool. So the nomenclature of single point cutting tool means it is a information of various elements and the angles of the single point cutting tool. So you can see in a, it is a 3D view. You can see the different angles and the different elements of the single point cutting tool. This is another diagram, that is front view, top view and side view, that is shown. Now first angle, back rake angle. So that back rake angle you can see in a front view. So you can see the back rake angle. So now we will see what is back rake angle. So back rake angle is the angle between the face of the single point cutting tool and line parallel with the base of the tool, measured in a perpendicular plane through the side cutting edge. So you can see, so this back rake angle, it is a angle between the face of the tool and the line parallel to the base of the tool. So that is called a back rake angle. So if the slope face is downward towards the nose, it is negative back rake angle, and if it is upward towards the nose, it is positive back rake angle. So back rake angle helps in removing the chips away from the workpiece. So for that back rake angle, it is provided. So you can see here. So at the top, the fourth diagram, you can see there is a back rake angle. So it is an angle between the face of the tool and line parallel to the base of the tool, measured through the perpendicular plane. The next angle, that is a side rake angle. So side rake angle you can see in this diagram, side rake angle, you can see side rake angle. In a second diagram, you can see the side rake angle, and in this diagram you can see the side rake angle in a side view. So it is the angle between the face of the tool and line parallel to the base of the tool and measured in a plane perpendicular to the base and the side cutting edge. So that is called a side rake angle. This angle is positive when the slope is away from the cutting edge and is negative when the slope is towards the cutting edge. So the significance of back and side rake angles. So the top face of the tool over which the chip flows is known as the rake face. Larger the rake angle, smaller the cutting angle and lower the cutting force and power. Then next is end relief angle. So end relief angle that you can see in this diagram. So this is the end relief angle, or in this diagram you can see in a front view. end relief angle. So end relief angle, it is the angle between the portion of the end flank below end cutting edge and a line perpendicular to the base of the tool and measured at right angle to the end flank. So that is a end relief angle. So this is end relief angle that is shown. So it provides clearance to the flank of the tool to prevent rubbing with the workpiece. So small relief angles are necessary to give strength to the cutting edge when machining hard and strong material. With increased value of relief angle, penetrate and cut the workpiece more efficiently, and this reduces the cutting forces. But too large relief angles weakens the cutting edge. So this is regarding the end relief angle. Then side relief angle. So you can see in this diagram, you can see the side relief angle, or in another diagram, you can see the side relief angle in a side view. You can see side relief angle. So side relief angle, so it is the angle between the portion of the side flank below the side cutting edge and a line perpendicular to the base of the tool and measured at right angle to the side flank. So that is side relief angle. You can see here. So side relief angle, so significance is it provides clearance to the flank of the tool to prevent rubbing with the workpiece. Then end cutting edge angle. So in this diagram you can see the end cutting edge angle and the side cutting edge angle. So in another diagram you can see the end cutting edge angle. In a top view you can see there is a end cutting edge angle, and in the same view you can see the side cutting edge angle. So end cutting edge angle, so this is the angle between the end cutting edge and line normal to the tool shank, that is called the end cutting edge. So significance of end cutting edge angle, it provides a clearance to the trailing end of the cutting edge to prevent the rubbing of cutting edge with machine surface. So only small angle is sufficient for this purpose. So you can see end cutting edge angle. It is the angle between end cutting edge and a line perpendicular to the shank of the tool. So it provides clearance between the tool cutting edge and the workpiece. And side cutting edge, it is the angle between straight cutting edge on the side of the tool and the side of the shank. So it is responsible for turning the chip away from the finished surface. So side cutting edge angle, it is also called the lead angle. It is the angle between the side cutting edge and the side of the tool shank. So it is the angle which prevents interference as the tool enters the work material. So due to that angle, the tool, it is contact the work first behind the tip. So this angle affects the tool life and surface finish. So these are the various angles that are provided on a single point cutting tool. So this is regarding the nomenclature of the single point cutting tool. Now the next point, that is cutting speed, feed and depth of cut. So the cutting speed, so cutting speed is the speed at which the metal is removed by the cutting tool from the workpiece. That is called the cutting speed. So in the case of lathe machine, cutting speed is the peripheral speed of the work past the cutting tool. So it is expressed in meter per minute or mm per minute. So the formula it is given to calculate cutting speed: V equal to pi dn upon 60,000 meter per minute, where d is the diameter of the workpiece, that is expressed in mm, and n, it is a rpm, revolution per minute of the work. So the proper cutting speed for a given job depends upon the hardness of the material being machined, the material of the tool bit, and how much feed and depth of cut is required. Now, the cutting speeds for metal are usually expressed in surface feet per minute and measure on a circumference of the work. Now, next is the feed rate. So, feed rate is defined as the distance the tool travels during one revolution of the part or the one revolution of the spindle. So, how much distance the tool travel in one revolution of the spindle, that is called the feed rate. So, cutting speed and feed determines the surface finish, power requirements, and material removal rate. Next is depth of cut. So, it is the total amount of metal removed per pass of the cutting tool. So, it is expressed in a mm. It can vary and depending upon the type of the tool and work material. Mathematically, it is half of difference of diameters. So depth of cut is equal to d minus d upon 2 expressed in mm. So d, it is a original diameter, and small d, it is a reduced diameter. So depth of cut, that will be equal to capital D minus small d upon 2. So where d is the outer diameter in mm and small d, it is the inner diameter in mm. Now next is Taylor's tool life equation. So first of all, we will see the types of tool wear. So there are two types of tool wears, flank wear and crater wear. So regarding tool wear, so newly ground cutting tool has sharp cutting edges and smooth flanks, but these are lost gradually after its use in machining process because of cutting forces, high temperature and chip movement. So this progressive loss or removal of material from tool surface is known as tool wear. So there are two types of tool wears, flank wear and crater wear. So this is also called the regions of the tool wear. So first is flank wear. So flank wear takes place on a flanks on the cutting tool. So you can see there is a two flanks. One is first is major flank and the minor flank. So this wear produces wear lands on the side and end flanks of the tool due to rubbing action of the machine surface. So the flank wear in which the portion of the tool in contact with the finished part that will erodes. So flank wear is a form of wear which appears on the flank below the cutting edge of the tool. So it occurs due to the abrasion between the flank of the tool and the newly machined workpiece surface. Then the crater wear. So this type of wear takes place at the tool face. So you can see at the tool face there is a wearing of the face of the tool. So this type of wear takes place while machining of ductile materials in which continuous chips are produced. So due to this, there is a formation of the crater or depression at the tool chip interface. So the main cause for the formation of depression is the pressure of hot chip sliding up the tool face. That is called a crater wear. Now we will see what is tool life. So the total cutting time accumulated before tool failure occurs is termed as tool life, or the actual machining time between the two successive sharpenings of the cutting tool is called tool life. So tool life is used to calculate the tool material performance and machinability of workpiece material. Now there are different methods to specify tool life. First is, it is a time period in minutes between two successive grindings. Second method, that is number of components machined between two successive grindings of the cutting tool. And third is volume of material removed between two successive grindings. So Taylor gave the following relationship between the cutting speed and the tool life. So the relationship is V T raised to N equal to C. So you can see at the left hand side, the tool life equation is given. Vt raised to N equal to C, where V is the cutting speed in meter per minute, T is tool life in minutes, N is the tool life index which depends on the tool material, and C is the machining constant. The values of N for different materials that are given. So N is equal to 0.1 to 0.2 for HSS tools. It is 0.2 to 0.4 for carbide tools, and 0.4 to 0.6 for ceramic tools. So the tool life also depends on, to a great extent, on a depth of the cut, that is D, and the feed rate per revolution, that is F. That depends upon the, you can see the depth of cut you can express as a T, and feed rate it is F. So it is Vt raised to N, F raised to A, T raised to B equal to C. So we can write the modified tool life equation is Vt raised to N, F raised to A, T raised to B equal to C, where F is the feed rate in mm per minute, T is the depth of cut in mm, A and B that are constants which depends on mechanical properties of the workpiece. Now one problem that you can see on a tool life equation, one simple problem. If in turning of a steel rod by a given cutting tool at a given machining condition for a given environment, the tool life, the data is given, the tool life decreases from 80 mm to 20 mm due to increase in cutting velocity V from 60 mm to 120 mm. So here the different values, that is V1 it is given, V1 it is 60, then for V1 the T1 is 80 mm, and V2 it is given 120 because the cutting speed it is increased from 60 to 120. So Vt it is 120, so that the tool life it is decreased to 20 mm. So T2 it is 20 mm, and it is asked to find out the cutting velocity for the tool life of 40 minutes. So T3 it is 40 minutes given, and V3 that to be determined. So first of all you have to find out the value of N, that is tool life index. So use the formula. So this is Vt raised to N equal V1 T1 raised to N equal to V2 T2 raised to N. The data or the values for V1 T1 and V2 T2 it is known. By putting these values you can find out the value of N. So N equal to 0.5. Now again you have to find out the V3. So you can write V3 T3 raised to N equal to V1 T1 raised to N. So put the values, then you will get the value of V3, that will be equal to 84.84 meter per minute. So that is regarding the tool engineering. Thank you.